Talking to the public, here we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.co's. This is our weekend offering. We do a weekend sort of crypto roundup, and of course, with a holiday, thought we'd do it as a public video here today. Maybe do a big old session of PMA for you guys. I usually, so the public is aware. If you are watching these, we do about a 10-15 minute rant at the beginning of every day. We call it our daily brief. That usually gets dragged on to about an hour or so because Brian loves to talk so much. We do a daily video and basically keep the public abreast of what TRI sort of management, senior staffers are thinking in the market. A lot of fun. You probably watched these broiler chicken offerings before. Slightly different tone, more Brian just sort of freestyling with the audience. I did do it as a public offering here today, because I kind of think that the public maybe needs a big old shot of maybe PMA here, and maybe also see how our audience, our what do we call you guys? Our forum. I'm not even quite sure if we're showing on YouTube, but I think I have present to everyone, so all you see is my screen. But we have a forum, and on a daily basis, they're interacting with me while we do these daily briefs, and we have on co-hosts and show seniors. So, here we are on the weekend. As I said, I thought I'd do this as a bit of a public, crypto market's awfully soft right now. And I don't think it should shock anybody what's happening in the market. It seems, unfortunately very natural. But I thought maybe we'd throw out some levels and talk about some ideas, which we do normally on a daily basis on the site, but also include the public if you feel like participating. So I see Andres Granados says hello over there on YouTube. So hello, Andres. And I see there's a good 20 people over there. So, feel free to, if you do have a question, to ask. You might even consider this like an Ask Me Anything kind of session. But we'll be looking at sort of generally what we see happening in Bitcoin. Might as well take a minute and talk a little bit about the broader stock market and the FANG stocks. Somebody asked about that in the lounge this morning. And then also too, and we have some viewer requests. I haven't actually updated this in a bit since our last broiler chicken show, but we have some requests. So I thought maybe I'd take some time and talk a little bit about that. And then, actually, believe it or not, there are a few bright spots out there in crypto right now. And I saw one that probably, if we do talk about it today, we're going to put the kiss of death on it. But what the hell? I love talking about it. And his #1 fan is here today. Jeremy's in the house, Super J. So, because you're here, I wanted to talk about it too. And then also too, I suppose, if we're really lucky, but I don't know whether he's in the mood or not. But we are fortunate. We do have TRI senior manager here, program developer, website aficionado, Superman. Julian, who's now actually got a beautiful hedge strategy running for our crypto portfolio too. And just so impressed with the work he's doing in the market these days, really working his ass off to take TRI to that next level that it sort of has to evolve to next. So, if we're really lucky and he's got a microphone handy, maybe we can hear, get a word or two in from Julian here today, but that's entirely up to him. If anything, maybe type up if you have a screen shot that you'd like to share with the audience. Julian, you can maybe just fire it at me and I'll put it on the screen if you'd like to say a word or two about your thoughts. We'd love to hear what you're thinking right now. So, where do we start off? As I said, probably going to keep this conversation primarily Bitcoin-ish, but I've been watching, it's kind of interesting. We're like talking and watching both Bitcoin price action and the altcoin market. And, altcoiners, it's not just a Bitcoin story. You can feel the airs coming out of the bubble across the board. And it's interesting, even when we look at all the tether pairs, you can see that versus US dollars, the entire market is just simply unwinding from that just insane bull market. I do see quite a bit of talk, and we will see this more and more, about how this is actually a bad thing and how, oh, it's a nightmare. And I suppose if you're part of the public and you get swept up in the euphoria, it's completely understandable. This is extremely painful. But I would actually make the argument here, if you can, and I've tried to say this to the public, and I really honestly believe it. The past year or so, we'll say, it felt like the price action in Bitcoin itself was extremely manufactured. You don't necessarily need to get into political motivations in this conversation, but there were lots and lots of tells that things were a bit suspicious. So I don't think it should surprise anybody the market has unwound the way that it has, but I am encouraged by the simple fact that we're starting to, we've unwound that insanity. Like, I love to study these kind of cycle patterns, and I do see a lot of cycle apexes coming into fruition here. I don't know whether we're done, and frankly speaking, I can show you a whole bunch of other charts, like the Phoenix chart that I was working on. Actually, this is probably a good one. This was the Altcoin fiasco. Technically, these bearish objectives have not been hit yet, and they're still floating out there. Of course, I can't trade Altcoin now until this chart cleans itself up. So I'm kind of handcuffed with my Altcoin trading account. In fact, here was the recent short that I had on, and I actually got fills, which kills me, right? And this is so typical of crypto, and it's the casino. I did actually get reported fills, but then when they clawed all the trades back and they brought the market back, they like instantly brought it right back and gave me my fill here. So I got a 2-to-1 on the trade. What the hell? I can't complain. But you can see they're just totally messing with the price action in here. What's really interesting is first thing this morning, actually, we had a very rounded, well-defined top there, and price just started to cascade lower. Technically speaking, I would argue that this is actually a price gap on the charts. This gap should be filled in. Does the market ever move in a straight line? No, and as you can see, wow, we just had a wicked snapback counter-trend rally here. But I would also say, too, be careful in this kind of environment. Somebody in our lounge this morning, and I thought it was a great comment, somebody in our lounge said, you know what, this has got holiday session. Let's, F with the kids, really mess with their brains, and they're just monkeying with the market right here. It's interesting, on the site itself, we often talk about the futures boys. And my general feeling, and where's the chart I want to show you guys? My general feeling is, I got to get my head on straight. Where's that chart? Here we are. My general feeling is, and we see this repeatedly, but I don't know whether we're going to see it on this chart or not. Did I do it on this chart? I can't remember. No. Yeah, fudge. We see them reset the market on a regular basis. So the professionals go out Friday afternoon. They mess around with the kids' brains. Maybe it's this chart. Hey, there we go. We see this quite often, right? These are all the marks where Chicago goes out, and then they mess around with price, and Chicago boys come back, and price is basically roughly the same level. So we often see this little sort of fuckery through the weekend session, and then we get sort of a reset on the open. Now, the problem here, of course, is this is a long weekend. So they got lots and lots of time to mess with the market. Like, here's a great example. Look how wide the spread was, and then they basically brought it right back to scratch. So, this is a mess any way you slice it because of the holiday weekend. This is all very suspect price action. I am also interested too in the fact that Japan, and I've been following and tweeting these charts out for quite a while, that Japan is coming down into a very interesting level here. We had three different harmonic patterns, and AB equals CD, very sloppy. I'm not going to say it's textbook. Also, this ABCD, the red one, and then this big bat formation, which is 88.6 zips pivot. This is what we call a potential reversal zone, or PRZ. And it was interesting, and considering that this is the holiday weekend, and totally the adults are not around, we have to be very careful about price action in here. And it was interesting, first thing this morning, price is dumping pretty hard. And for our community, we follow we actually have a really active little day trader group going that are really practicing their day trading skills. And I reported in our lounge this morning, it felt like there was a bearish, this is what I call my bot setup, where I have a range, and then if the market can bounce back 33%, then if we get some sort of consolidation and then a fail off of 25% of that projection level, then that sets up a bearish setup where you go short off the 25, stop to scratch at 50%, stop to trailing at 66. And if anything, here is a fantastic reason why you should have those stops trailing, right? And I think the break of this high here would probably be like, you better get the hell out of there. And sure enough, boom, up she goes. So, those are the kind of things that I see happening here. But, we look at the profile and it looks like Swiss cheese. I wouldn't be surprised if this is totally a classic. They're just washing the market, looking for weak hands to flush out either side. And keep in mind, like I said earlier, I can't even go to OKCoin right now and even consider putting on the trade. I have to let this all settle out. This is just an absolute train wreck mess for me right now. And I think what they're doing here is they're just really fucking with the kids right now. It's a holiday session. Adults are not around. Let's see if we can really mess with the kids and, see if we can get some free money. One thing I did notice, and maybe Julian, you might be able to, or be interested in chiming in on this, is I am starting, well, we can't look at OK. Let's take a look at Stamp, for example. I am starting to see the beginnings of divergence, which we haven't seen the whole way down here. And if we get, if this candle, this is a pretty substantial little counter trend rally here. There's no doubt about it. And if this candle can finish here, this is a 4-hour chart. So, I mean, it's going to be a while before this candle finishes. But if this candle can finish strong and we actually W here, then I think that probably this slide that we just went through has probably, seen its run. So we'll see how that goes. It'd be interesting to get Julian's take on what he sees in his RSI model. And also, too, you notice that, gee whiz, what a coincidence, like on this Stamp, for example, what we did here was we just came down to 88.6 off of this level. There's our good old reload zone. Never really developed anything through that. Now we're just sort of swimming down in the bottom end of the range. And if this is still a range, you will see a turn come in here. So I think it's a little too early to call the bottom, quote unquote. I think this is more just sort of weekend fuckery. Let's see if we can screw with the kids' heads as much as we can. I am, we at TRI have a fairly large war chest. We are ready, willing, and able to get back in on the long side of the market. But as you can see, looking at these tether proxies that basically we have a choice on Trex right now to be buying, and measuring them in US dollar terms, I just don't see any W's yet. Does anybody see any W's on this chart? Am I missing something? So until we actually start seeing the W's, I don't think I can get too overly bullish. And I have to just think of anything. Counter trend rallies are exactly that, right? In fact, actually, on our one of our daily briefs here we did recently, I thought it was absolutely perfect. I think we are still very much in, let's see if I can find it so that the YouTube audience can see this. Jerome says no Coin EX fees for a week. Is that serious? So that's what they're doing, eh? They're desperate, because I would imagine Coin lost a lot of clients over that. And I would be willing to bet they're gonna bribe people to try and come back and trade on there. I can't touch it until that chart cleans itself up. I can't even touch it. So interesting comment. Thank you, Jerome. But we put out probably middle of last week one tweet that I think completely describes this market perfectly. And that is, where the hell is it? It's down here somewhere. It was a cool tweet. Where are you? Here it is. This is exactly what I think the market is like right now. Oh, the first signs of bullishness, boom! I think, if anything, and I like to joke on the site that, to me, I don't really need to pick the bottom or the top of markets. I don't need to do that. If anything, I want to let the bigger whales and stuff establish bottoms and tops, and I'm trying to grab that chunk in the middle. And I'm a little fearful that just this first slightest signs of bullishness, the left-hand part of the W comes in, and everybody's like, that's it, the bottom's in, we got to go straight up from here. And I think we got to, if anything, people watching YouTube, you want to make this really simple on yourself. First thing I tell every single student, first day of class, find me weekly W's. You find weekly W's on your price charts, that tells you that a lot of the fluff is out of the market, and the market is put in structure and it's ready to go. And as I said, when we look at these kind of charts, not only do I not see weekly W's, I don't even see daily W's yet. Now, it is interesting. The one guy who's trying to buck the trend here versus dollars is this Verge, and I actually did see people who were making some interesting comments about Verge on the site this morning. So I just want to, I find this a hilarious one. I'm long TRI in the site. We're long from 2 sats on Verge. So you never know in this crazy game. It drives you nuts. Okay, so that's sort of my broader market outlook, and it sucks, right? I mean, everybody's like, well, that was fun. Thanks, Brian. If anything, like on the site, we like to use coins like Litecoin as a great sort of leading indicator. It was interesting. I saw a tweet this morning. Charlie Lee's going to do a public appearance. Well, just right here, Paolo, can you see my chart? Can you see? I mean, we'll turn this, changes to a weekly chart. All right. Can you see, Paolo, the weekly W? Down, up, down, breakout. Woohoo! What do you think, Paolo? Are you convinced? Weekly W's. I mean, you want to make this simple? I mean, it's hard to do. Don't get me wrong, but weekly W's, pretty damn powerful. So, we look at this, and like I said, we don't even have any signs of daily W's yet, let alone weekly W's. But, it'd be interesting to listen to Charlie. He's doing I saw on Twitter, he's doing a public piece over the next day or two. Maybe just Google Twitter search Charlie Lee. Let's see if he can maybe put in some sort of bottom in Litecoin here. We're coming up to some very interesting levels. And I actually do like this level here because you can see it's off the original structural breakout here. So, Litecoin, in my opinion, this is, if anything, in my opinion, this is absolutely perfect analogy of, I think, and it's still painful, don't get me wrong, right? I think we are closer to the bottom than we are the top. It's been a long, painful slide, don't get me wrong. But I think, and the worst part about this now is that percentage terms, if we drop this, it's still like a 50% drop. Fuck me. Excuse my French. I don't know whether we can hold these lows, and only time will tell, considering it's the funny holiday weekend session. But I would just, on balance, like if you're a little old lady, Nanny Nibbles, Keep it really conservative. Bet like, maybe 1% of your portfolio on an idea at a time. I believe we're actually now coming into market levels on a lot of these ideas. Like one that I'm really interested in. I really like the ETC story because I think Barry's too quiet lately. But there you can see nice weekly W that we talk about. So if we can come down into this level and start putting in WE action, I really am interested in this. OMG is another one that I, our site sort of program guru, Sjord, he really likes this story. It's coming down into some interesting levels again. But again, I got to start seeing some W's, give me some sort of structure. That's the general message for the public. It sucks right now, but I think on balance, that's where we are. Got to keep your as much powder dry as possible. If you're going to be going in and buying, all right, you can see location. We got, like we on the site like to teach, try and have 3 solid reasons to consider risking your hard-earned money. And John Penn says, I already lost 80% of my portfolio. I completely understand that, John. There's not a heck of a lot I can do to help you at this point. Maybe consider this, journal. Sit down and just write out everything that you did over the past 6-8 months, and let's try and build a plan to try and avoid doing those things in the future. That sucks. It's terrible advice. I'm sorry, John, but that's the best that I can do for you right now. And then let's try and learn from this. I would actually argue that if we look at like higher time frames, a lot of these names, including the evil one, we'll probably leave him alone, but even good old Bitcoin, we are starting to come down into what I like to talk about on these public service shows. We do one for Coinigy, and actually we're thinking about doing another sort of weekly public broadcast, kind of like this Broiler Chickens, but probably a little more structured. We're starting to come down into areas where actually, this actually represents a half decent buying and investing level. We don't have the W's yet, so at best we're nanny nibbling. And as I sort of pointed out, our day trader community, they're hunting setups all over the place, right, left, and center. But I would even argue like swing traders. I think off of I think I was I did show you this, right? So when OKCoin didn't shit the bed here, my expectation off of this top, and this was set up off a nice divergence. This is a nice fail. This is a trend continuation trade. And as I had said before, I actually still feel pretty comfortable that this 45.30 level still needs to be traded to. So I'm not saying off the higher time frames we got bottoms working. We still got a lot of work to do. I will say though one thing, and hope springs eternal. As I like to say, I really like to follow the Japanese market because I do believe that those GOX coins are the weight overhanging the market right now. That's the supply that has to come out, and everybody's shitting their pants about when that damn supply is going to come out and hit the market. I really believe that's what's driving it. So I have a keen interest in the Japanese story. From what I understand, the executor has sort of been given orders that this should move from the bankruptcy courts to what Thomas calls civil rehabilitation. And by all means, anybody on YouTube who has sort of an inside beat on this, fire a link on there. We've been more than happy to promote your thinking. But I don't know whether it's a good idea for us to get too wrapped up in the holiday weekend stuff. I think if anything, we have to let this settle out. I think there's a lot of fuckery going on right now. Let's see how the market acts coming out of this weekend. I've found in the past, Bitcoin, let's see if we can show you that chart. Bitcoin seems to have an okay April. Well, I guess I'm going to say the okay to the end of March, April. But usually there's like a little dump, I guess here we had our dump in March. April saw a little bit of a dump, but then, we put in a base and we were ready to rock and roll. That was coming out of that April. If we go back here, where you can see April saw the end of March saw a bit of a pivot, and then one final dump into sort of early April. And then that basically marked the floor for the seasonal rally here. This is actually when I first got involved in the Bitcoin story, and I used to hang out on like trading view sites. And it's fascinating in like such a short period of time. That group of people that used to hang out on TradingView, it's incredible to see all the different avenues they've all gone down. Some have become like absolute institutional players in this space, very noted, respected commentators on social media and stuff. Really cool. And if anything, guys, this is a really good lesson to anybody new, especially John, right? This is a really, really good lesson for you. If you are super jazzed about this space, use what you just went through. I'm talking to John there in the YouTube audience there. I don't know whether you're still there or not. Use this experience as sort of, they all went through. I remember them all. Or one guy, his name's Flapper or something like that. And he got goxed. I remember that. But it was incredible to counsel them all through this and say, you know what, we had to go down and trade back down into reload zones. And we usually, bear market's duration is about 18 months. And the irony of it all is that this thing played out so cliche, it wasn't even ridiculous. So, if we have to go through this kind of period again, John, use this as an experience. And like I said, these guys that all lived through this and learned through this whole experience and really sharpened up their TA, they're fucking industry leaders now. These people like own this industry. They're like the insiders. So if you're really serious about this, John, right, take the time and invest in yourself now. And really, of course, and it sucks for all new people to trading, you actually have to embrace the loss. You have to say, okay, what can I learn from this? How can I grow? When I used to trade with the guys on TST, they used to always say, the guys, you used to hear it on the floor almost every single day, there is no such thing as a bad trade. Because the people that really want to get good at this, even a losing trade, you can learn from this. So valuable, John. So please take the time and really learn. Obviously what you did didn't work. So what is it that you did that we need to simply avoid doing in the future? That's going to be very hard for you, John. But the interesting thing is, if you can actually invest the time and energy right now in that, it will pay many, many fold down the road. So hello, Crypto Times. Nice to see you, bud. And there's Jerome, crazy Jerome. I put out a tweet for Jerome. Jerome is talking conspiracies? You got to be kidding me. Nice to see you there, bud. I haven't seen you in a while. Okay. Hey, Julian. Yeah, we know about that gentleman. But anyway, so what? Who cares? It's water under the bridge. If anything, let's back to our story. So, what does April kind of look like for Bitcoin? I'm feeling like we're nearing some sort of seasonal pivot. I really am. I thought, this April, and actually I thought, when I've done a lot of sort of comparison studies, I really feel like this is our scenario right now, where we've put in, a panic low dump. That was on sort of like the Bitcoin dad kind of scenario. We had the dead cat bounce out of that. Then we come down, we're probing against that Bitcoin dad low. And it just feels like there has to be one more FU. There's one more FU just to screw with the kids' heads, just to wash them out. And then we can set up our seasonal bounce. So, I do a lot of like sort of where are you now kind of tweets. And I'm thinking we're sort of right in here. We're very close to some sort of pivot. And it's interesting, where they're going to use this holiday weekend. let's keep a real close eye on these kind of divergences starting to develop, because usually when you come into location, what you want to see is signs of divergence. That in essence, we talked about reload zones, 88.6 here now. This is actually really cool. Check this out. We were looking at this 3 drives pattern on this Japanese market. Like I said, I'm very interested in this Japanese market. And we're wondering, how does the market come down into this level? Keep in mind, this is the higher time frame level that we were talking about here, right? There it is, that big honking level, all the 3 harmonics. Look at me. So how does the market come down here and resolve this? And keep in mind, the market's never going to make this easy. It's always going to be such a fucking pain in the ass. So what's really interesting here is we actually had a 3 drives pattern. 1 drive, 127.2, second drive, 127.2, third drive. But notice through the regular session, they never did come down and complete the 127. And I even said this in our lounge. I totally remember saying this the other day. I said, this doesn't look right. Something's not right about this. And what I'm worried about is they've set up and then we went after the stops scenario. And that kind of looks to me like that's exactly what just happened there. So, that might be the catalyst. And, the worst part about this game, we like to look for catalysts. The worst part about this game that really bothers me, and I think now, which really sucks for all the sort of crypto purists, can you guys understand that this now could very easily represent a significant weapon for the regulators to be able to come in and now regulate crypto? You liquidate me, I liquidate myself. I could very easily see this now be the ammunition, the political ammunition that the regulators can now use and say, we have to prevent this from happening. This can't happen. So I wonder, and actually I'm a little surprised that we didn't get more of you liquidate me, I liquidate myself kind of talk, and that it hasn't become a meme. That actually surprised me a little bit. But if we look back in hindsight and we see that this indeed and this, right? I mean, talk about fuck youery. This is just a mess, right? This was just an absolute disaster. Maybe this was the catalyst that we needed to mark that sort of psychological pivot. So really interesting market that we're in right now, no doubt about it. I'd be interested too, to be perfectly honest with you, if this divergence does come in, and frankly, we're still a bit early here, but let's watch and let's see if this comes in. I'd be really curious to see if there's any long setups that are going to fire here off this sort of medium time frames. Yeah, I think, there could be a cute little trade developing here, but the problem, of course, is this silly. It's the holiday weekend. Like, what I actually think is probably going to happen here is they'll put in some sort of bottom. Where's that chart I wanted to show you? Is it this one? No. Yeah, here. They're going to put in some sort of bottom, but like we said, the New York boys, are they going to allow this thing to take off without them being given the opportunity to get in? No fucking way. So, maybe we get some sort of counter trend rally. Oh, things are looking bullish. And then into, and keep in mind, there's a holiday weekend, so it lasts a long time. Into Monday night kind of idea, early Tuesday morning, we get them to bring the market back down to where the New York boys, or the Chicago boys, where they left off last week. So I don't know what I definitely don't think I'm going to be hunting any long setups through the weekend here, other than in our community, we love to talk about our day trading setups. And, a few of our community are like, okay, every bloody day I'm here. What's the kill zones? What's the setup? Got to force myself to take trades, live with the results. I'm perfectly fine with 60% accuracy, which means I get stopped out 40% of the time, a lot of stop outs. But if your risk reward is greater than 2 to 1, in this case, the bot like 3 to 1, then the numbers work out. And that's just a day trader's life. So those are the kind of setups I think I'm going to be thinking about right now. And really, I want to wait for the weekend to resolve itself before I make any grand conclusions off of any higher time frames. We could very easily not break out here. Don't put the cart before the horse. Back off. We still got another couple hours here till this candle finishes, and it's just business as usual. So if you are hunting longs, better make damn sure that these divergences are in. In fact, if we look at the 1 hour, you can see that this counter trend rally has not actually broken out. It's just straight up off the lows. So at the very least, we're probably going to have to see some backfilling on momentum here. All right, wow, that's a whole bunch of windbag. I sure hope you got some value out of all that. Holiday weekend, it's a bit screwy, no doubt about it. And I'm thinking that we're getting close to some sort of seasonal pivot here. Actually, I remember I did. It was really cool. Let's see if we can do this. Boom. We'll say go from like here to here. And then let's take this to today and see if it looks at all similar. Whoops, where'd it go? All right, let's see what we got here. I love this about these charting applications. Keep in mind, when I was your guy, oh, can I not move this? Oh, isn't that weird? I thought I could. Huh, isn't that odd? I thought I could stretch that up and down. I can only go back and forth. Oh, those jerks. How did I do that before? There was a way I did that before. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Fudge. Oh well, it was a fun thought. I actually produced a couple of these charts recently. I just don't know where the hell I put them. So dump, right? That would be sort of I think. Yeah, fudge. Oh well. Yeah, we tried. What the heck? Yeah, we'll save that for another day. All right. I think everybody's got a pretty good idea what I'm thinking here going forward. That's fine. This is like trader kind of environment. Investor, I think you got to cool your jets and wait for those W's. Let's actually, there's a couple names that really interested me that, we could take a real good look at. I don't know whether, and Jeremy, are you still here? Oh, Julian, did you want to do a quick report?
Yeah.
Oh, your microphone just went nuclear. Okay, I've put your screen on the screen, and I'm presenting to everyone.
Okay, does my microphone work now?
Hey, there you go. Rock on. Go for it. Let's hear what Julian has on his mind.
Okay, so I know Brian went over a lot about Bitcoin, but I thought I would do my own personal quick recap.
Totally. I'm totally unrelated, and if anything, this is great to get two completely different human opinions of this. So go.
Okay. So here, I thought I'd show this, and I'm sure a lot of people have seen this chart. This is all the horrific Bitcoin crashes that we've gone through, where everyone thinks Bitcoin's going to die, it's not coming back, blah, blah, blah. The news talks about it a ton, and well, it doesn't really, they kind of stop talking about it, and if they do talk about it, it's bad news. Kind of ironic about how they do it on the way down, and kind of even more so at the bottoms. So we can see, Bitcoin has historically gone down anywhere from 30 to up to 83%. And I mean, in this one case, back in 2013, it went down 83% in 3 days. So I would say it's definitely, what we're going through right now is not nearly as bad as that. But right now we're around, 70%, a little bit higher than that, obviously, because we're not at 5,900 anymore, but that was the low we went down to at one point. I just thought it would be good to show this chart just to show everyone how this has happened before. This is not the first time. It's not the last time, probably. I just thought I'd start with that. Now let's look at Bitcoin today. So here's my daily chart. I'm not even going to show a weekly chart because I think something has to be around for around 10 years before you can really rely on the weekly charts. I don't like looking at them for Bitcoin. I mean, let me zoom out real quick. Let's see what it looks like. Yeah, so this doesn't give me a ton of information. It kind of just tells me if I drew a line, I should have sold, you know, back in January, you would have wanted to be a seller. That's all this really tells me. If we go to the daily chart, and if you're in TRI, I've posted this chart probably every day for the past 2 weeks. There was a big triangle building that since, you know, it started forming in February, and we've kind of just been going up and down. This break here was huge. This was a huge break. And I will tell you, the minute I saw it break, I shorted and hedged our TRI portfolio to protect against losses on BitMEX. And like Brian was kind of saying, there's no W's here. I don't see anything on the daily. It's a complete bear. The only beacons, well, you know what? I'm getting ahead of myself. So it looks like a bear from that perspective and that perspective. So there's 2 bear reasons on the daily. But then I've got 2 bull reasons. I've got a divergence on the MACD. So as you can see, a building divergence on the histogram. And then we've also have building volume. So this volume shows that people are buying. There's people coming in and buying Bitcoin here. I don't know if it's, I mean, obviously it's not more that are buying than selling, but there's someone is picking things up and they were not doing anything, you know, from the end of December all the way till the end of February and beginning of March. There was nothing going on. This, often when you see volume pick up, it signifies a bottom is starting to form. Something's happening. So I guess what I would say, if you're trading off the daily as a long-term trader, don't buy Bitcoin yet. Wait for that daily W. You want to see an RSI breakout above the downtrend line. And if you're even more cautious, you want to see it. Well, okay, it'll take me half an hour to explain this, but just don't buy Bitcoin right now. Wait for a W to come in on the RSI. Wait for price to slow down and start to make its own W's, just like Brian was saying. And then for anyone that trades on a daily or weekly time frame, any actual traders here, first, you want to always look at the daily and you want to check the trend. So the trend is down. If you're trying to buy the dips and make money on the long side, I guarantee you're essentially swimming upstream on a river. That's what you're trying to do. If you're a really strong swimmer, you might occasionally make money, but eventually you are going to lose. So my number 1 piece of advice for any trader out there, no matter what time frame, is always look at a higher time frame, a daily preferably. 4 hours is even too low. Look at the daily, determine the trend, and make sure your trend finding system is correct before you even consider trading on lower time frames. You are not a day trader if you can't determine the trend of the market. So first step, determine the trend, because you want to be swimming downstream with the river. Swimming upstream is the biggest mistake you can make, and it took me about 3 years to figure that out. So hopefully anybody listening, you take it to heart and it doesn't take you 3 years like it took me. So let's go to the 4-hour chart. Okay. So here's the 4-hour chart. We do have a W forming. There's definitely a W forming, and you could consider taking trades. If we come back down here, this is where I would consider taking a trade. If I would set my stop real tight. I would go in here, set a super tight stop, even tighter than that, just like right there. If we even break those lows, you're out. And then you can go up to here about the last support levels. Bottom, you'd want to go to the bottom of the last support levels, right about there. So up to around 7,750. But again, you know, this is still a bearish market. So you could also consider, okay, if we get up around there, short it.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, but it's tough to call. You really can't say. So what I can say for sure is if this breaks out higher, the RSI, and we break out above 7,200, we could go to 7,700.
Yep.
If we break below 6,400, we're going down to 5,000. 5,000 is my next fib level. And if I zoom out,
right on the nose like that, eh? Wow, that's surprising.
That's where we had support right here.
Yeah,
There's but
a
it's
it's also
support.
78.6.
There's a little bit of support at 5,600 too.
Mm.
So you could stop at 56 and then eventually fall to 5,000. Based on the daily chart, I would say that is way more likely, and I am not hunting longs. I'm putting hedges on, occasionally exiting and then getting in at a higher position, but that's about it. I'm not going long at all. You want to go to like an hourly time frame, it's just a mess. I couldn't even trade off of this. If you're trying to, good luck.
Yeah.
Especially if, if there's anyone out there listening and you have less than 2 years of trading experience, don't trade on anything below a 4-hour time frame. You will lose your money, almost guaranteed. You're trading against professionals, machines that have been programmed by people who are paid millions of dollars a year to program those machines. It's like going into the NBA or any kind of professional football league and expecting that you're going to beat those guys. You're not going to. It's not going to happen. So you need to focus on only trading higher time frames unless you have a significant amount of experience. And I know Thomas, for anybody that knows Thomas, who does Daily Briefs with Brian, even said that he wasn't getting signals and he wasn't trading through this. The only reason,
just very politely, I mean, I had a nice short trade working. It worked. And their chart just blew up, and I can't even do anything right now. I just have to sit on my hands and wait.
Exactly. Being a professional trader is knowing when to sit on your hands. And the only reason I took my trade was because I was waiting for this. I waited for this. It must have been almost half a month, almost 2 weeks for this trade. And I just put it on right here, huge hedge, and it worked out, And I exited down here at 6,700. And I got back in at 7,100 up here. And then when this spike happened, I had to stop right here at these lows. And I got stopped out, but I made a profit. So now I'm waiting to see what happens here to get back in on my hedge. So that's my plan. That's what's going on for me. And hopefully that helps everyone listening. I'm not sure if there's anyone did anyone ask any questions on the YouTube channel? I can't see it.
I don't know. No, we're just, really just listening to the story, right? Listening to the dialogue. I don't think we've had any specific questions. I think just, we're just listening to you. So I think that was a great job. Great report, sir.
Okay.
And frankly speaking, this is the hardest part about down markets is a lot of the times we have to simply spend time reminding ourselves that we got to be sitting on our hands. Well, that's a lot of fun. It sucks. It is a trader's life. It's the way it goes. And we are in that kind of market right now. For those people that are watching on YouTube and watching later on, and you're like, wow, I'd really like to get involved in this crypto. Cool your jets. The bottoms will come in. And we always say in the Daily Brief, there could be tons of money. I mean, it's ridiculous, the money when these damn things pop. But until we start seeing those W's, let's just cool our jets. All right. Thank you, sir. Excellent report. I'll see you, I suppose, in the meeting in an hour. Are there any alts that you wanted to bring to anybody's attention?
Oh, yes. I wanted to talk about alts. Wow, I forgot about that. Okay, let me share my screen again. It's not about any one alt in particular because, to be perfectly honest, I think the whole alt market is controlled by a vast array of machines and professional traders that manipulate the crap out of it, and all kind of like if you buy one alt, another alt's probably going to go up as well. If one alt's going up, the other ones are going up as well. You might get different 100% returns. If for anyone out there that's not part of TRI, we do something called sell half on a double strategy, where when something hits 100%, we sell half. You might have some coins that double at one time, but as Brian's showing on, I don't know if is my screen showing on YouTube or is your screen?
I'm doing you, but we can flip back to me.
Okay. No, it's okay. Alts seem to travel all together. You might have one rogue alt that might double while everything else is down, but the chances of you picking that are slim to none.
Well,
it's very, you have a very low chance.
If you're talking to the public, okay. But that's the whole point why we find fundamental drivers.
We do, but it's still very difficult. So my point is that for me, I'm talking about me personally. For me personally, I want to watch the overall alt market, and make decisions based on what I'm seeing from an indicator attached to the overall alt market. So getting back to my screen, this shows Ethereum, but these charts below.
Stella, you can always, I don't mean to interrupt. Stella just says, "Oh, so never play alts." Just
no, play alts.
Tell you, Stella, that's when you can play. What we're trying to say is the charts are like not really happy right now. When they get happy, oh boy, there's a ton of money to be made here, Stella. So just listen to Julian, and I think he'll help you.
Okay, so let me make this full screen. So this chart is a chart of the top 20 or 25 coins on Bittrex. I'm going to update it to change it to Binance because that has a lot more volume. So for any Bittrex haters out there, I apologize.
Can you make it like yellow or a bright color so we can see it? Because I can barely see it.
All right, format.
There you go. Cool.
All right. So this is a graph of the entire alt space. Well, at least the top 25 coins on Bittrex. I will be changing it to Binance soon because they have higher volume and maybe it's more accurate. But TradingView has more history for Bittrex, so right now I want to use that. This is just their price, and it's just been going down. They've been altogether going down as a whole. Now, if I apply indicators to said price, I get a little bit of a different picture, especially the RSI. Everyone on the site knows I constantly use RSI, and I also love to use the MACD. This line right here. This is an RSI of the top 25 coins on Bittrex.
Oh, that's cool.
Now we can see here. So if I draw, so this line was my yellow line, and this told me when the alt market was dying. So I had two actually. I took this one off, but I'll add it again. I had this line. So I was like, oh, okay, this is when I should start to get worried. Now, if you guys go back and look at the market cap, we can probably go back and look at coin market cap.
Jeez, this Julian guy's fucking smart, man. Can I subscribe to your newsletter, please?
Yes, in 1 month's time. It's not out yet. Sorry, guys, for being a little slow here. Trying to go as fast as I can.
Yeah, you're kicking ass, man.
Okay, let's go to total market cap excluding Bitcoin. So let's go to the 21st. When was that on my chart? There we go. First breakdown, the 19th, we'll say, because we wanted to wait for confirmation. So 19th of January. All right. So January 19th right here. So market cap 372 billion. Now, if we go back to my chart, that was my first point of exit. So that's when I probably would have stopped buying altcoins. I wouldn't have bought any after that. You see how this ran up, but it never went above the yellow line. I expected it to do something like that and then drop. Now, this is when I would have started to sell a lot of my altcoins right here, when it broke down from this line. So on the 20th, we go to the 20th. January, was that January? Or is it February? February. Okay, February 20th. Okay, so right here at 307. So that's when I would have basically gotten out of altcoins. Now look at where we are. We're at 140 billion. So by getting out, just using that simple strategy of looking at the RSI, you would have saved yourself almost 60%. Your account, so if your account was at $1,000, you would have saved yourself a $600 loss. Okay, so just let that sink in. Now, it continued. So then we got a slight rebound here, but you can see this point is lower than this one, so it's not a W. This point is higher than this point, so it's an M. And when the market's making an M, let's draw, Brian loves this, and everyone's seen this a lot. When the market's making an M like this, and it's smiling at you, it means it's getting ready to Can anyone guess?
I'm not allowed to say anything, so I gotta be quiet.
There we go. Take your money. F you. F you.
Kevin,
It's getting ready to take your money. And what happened when this
did you see that? Did you see the M up top off of the original fail? I mean,
yeah, there's an M there too.
Yeah.
So
that's a fuck you. Fuck you.
Yep. But you got two chances to get out of this. So here we go. So here's the confirmation of the M on the 17th. Let's see what happened on our theoretical $1,000 portfolio. 17th right here. So you were at 176 billion market cap. Now we're at 139 billion. I don't know if I want to do the math on that. 176 divided by, let's see, 100.
Isn't there some site or something that's going to create an index of these like top 20 or 30 coins?
I mean, you can create it via script on TradingView. It's not hard.
Well, but I'm just thinking that this will be
okay. So you had about a 22% loss, 22% loss since then, which is, a decent amount of money. So now you're down, say if you started with 1,000 there, from that point, you lost $200. If you had $100,000 in it, you lost $20,000. It would have been nice to save that, right?
Well, as John, I mean, keep in mind this is if you're running this plan, but keep in mind a lot of people.
No, I know, I understand.
You're demonstrating how they're down 80% now.
Yes, I'm demonstrating what happened and signals that were given on one simple indicator, the RSI, that could have gotten you out in time. Okay, so
if anything, this brings me sales pitch to buy Julian's RSI course.
Well, I wasn't even thinking about that since it's not finished yet, but it's coming. Anyway, so now we have it crossed over this trend line, and we're just waiting now for the W to come in. So I'm telling you, the bottom may be coming. I'm not saying it's here yet, but for anyone that's like out there, down 80% or really upset, don't sell here. If you haven't sold already, if you didn't sell back in February or beginning of March, don't sell. You're too late. Hold on. Wait.
In fact, you can see exactly where she's going to go if we do W here. It's so obvious on Julian's.
Well, yeah, but we don't want to make assumptions in trading. So it might do something like this. It could, but I don't want to make an assumption. That's what I hope it does.
Yeah.
Because everybody wants to make money. I don't know if that's going to happen. It could, it could do this. It could be a fake out, and then we could come back down. This is just the potential for a W to form. Yeah. Okay, this is the first sign we've had since this fail up here back in January.
So the question I have for
February.
Is your index making a new low?
Okay, so that's an interesting thing. So you can see the RSI did not make a new low, but the index, well, it didn't either, but it's not as obvious. It's like close here. It could make a new low, and this won't make a new low.
If that happens, then we got divergence, and we can all start getting
exactly. And if you look at the MACD histogram, see how it's been. We've had a divergence forming here on the 15th. And since then, it's just been downhill. But look what happened here. Look what happened the last 2 days.
Yeah.
It's breaking out of the downtrend line.
Yeah. And, the funny thing is that who can help me on the site? Is there some sort of date or something that crypto likes that we're coming into? And, for anybody who's watching on the YouTube, we talk about this all the time. Crypto loves that 420.
I want to find a video real quick.
So, and it's a great sort of seasonal marker. Our conversation, Brian was telling you about previous March and then early April's, how there's usually some sort of pivot. You can see it developing on Julian's chart. You can literally see the levels coming in. Julian, do you think you could maybe take a screenshot of that? We'll throw that in the lounge. That's a really cool.
Yeah, I can. I just wanted to play this video real quick for everybody.
Okay, be careful. We're on YouTube, so it can't be copyrighted. You have to be careful.
Oh, it's just a clip from something. Is that an issue?
Well, you got to be. Wait, YouTube might kill us, so maybe this is got to be.
Well, then I'll just make the statement. It's from The Dark Knight. I don't know if anyone's ever seen it, but in one scene, Harvey Dent says, "The night is darkest just before the dawn, and I promise you, the dawn is coming." Okay, so the bottom is coming. I'm not going to say when, but we just got our first sign.
Yeah, that's cool.
So really don't start buying yet. Don't start buying. Please don't. But pay close attention. If you stop paying attention at any point through this downtrend, start paying attention again.
Good words of advice, sir. I really.
All right, that's it for me.
Yeah, excellent. Very well said. And of course, you know, what are the coins that are going to do well in the 420 event? Right. If anything, we should probably maybe even be keeping a close eye on them. Jeremy, what's the pot coin du jour? Jeremy made just an absolute killing on cannabis coin, I think about a year ago. Just destruction. So I'd just be curious which one he's interested
Brian,
in.
can you switch over to your screen again?
Okay. Let's see. How do I do that? I think I did that. Over here, present to everyone. There we go. So Jeremy's telling us, and you know, this is when we joke about it, right? We call this one the he who should not be named, because every time we talk about it, we just kill the rally. But look at the OBV coming in on Jeremy's rads. I mean, there's something. This thing is being accumulated by somebody here. Monstrous pop right out of the gate. It'll be really interesting to see whether we can actually get a clothesline. W to come in here. You can see this line slightly lower, so maybe we're not quite there yet, but somebody is accumulating this son of a gun. And it's interesting, you can actually see the divs are starting to try and form as well here. Look at the weekly OBV. Look at that. Now, you know, today is Sunday, so the close of today's action. Julian, I'm going to throw you on mute, okay, Chief? All right. But, you know, this is just yet another name where, you know, just as Julian says, we're probably closer to the bottom than the top, you know, that image that I showed you guys. And here's just yet a perfect anecdotal example of a name that, you know, it's sort of near and dear in TRI's heart. But very, very interesting story. And you can see all the level oneers. You've been studying your OBV divergences. And I remember we used to, maybe he'll even watch the show, I don't know. But we had one site member, Jonathan, who just, you know, became extremely wealthy trading crypto. And he used to say, Brian, you know, it's just this simple. I mean, just hunt for these OBV charts that look like this. This is the shit. So there you go. I mean, if you want an idea to consider today, this guy's just staring us in the face here. Let's go take a look at a couple of those pot coins. So which one do you like the best? Do you like POT the best these days, Jeremy? Oh, well, you certainly can't say there's a lot of fluff built into the price here. Interesting how we come right back against the 200-week moving average here, right? Don't see any real buying interest like we saw in that RADS. It looks to me like this thing's really drifting. You know, we like to teach in our course trying to read who's sort of driving the bus right now. And I think we would say that everybody's just asleep waiting for somebody to wake up. Considering the proximity to 420 at 1,200 and change, all you have to see is a move back to, well, I guess you're going to have to see a move back to value high to get your double. But I could see that happening, right? Hopefully you can see that just happened on RADS this morning. If you can try and force yourself to go in and buy below value, there is value, and usually value high is like a brick wall. So look at that RADS. Do you see how there's value low? Even into today, they rallied it up. And what's that? That's 7,300. So anybody who bought down here, well, I didn't quite get a double off. So a little bit cheeky. But actually, I would have expected him to get up to that 10 area. Anyway, yeah, the story's still young, I suppose. So I'm not going to say pound the table on pot, but I'm definitely going to say, you know, you're certainly not walking into a fluffy, nonsensical market. They basically brought the market right back down against the low of value here and against all these old lows. So, definitely nibble worthy. And I think I have been buying some pot recently. Our pot coins, that is. THC, same sort of thing. You can see, look at this. We're sitting here at 623 sats, and the highs here just from in December were 5,000. Is it realistic to see a move back to 1,200? 1,200. You can get a free position just on a move back to tag the 200 SMA here. And you can see the 200 SMA, 200 SMA is basically the 30 weekly SMA, and that's the 200 week SMA. There's money to be made here. Whether you take advantage of this, that's up to you. What's another one? Show me a W. Give me something that's got a W here, man. I don't see the W's quite yet, but CNN? Is that one? Actually, let's take a look at Candy. Might as well look at Candy. What the hell? Candy! There's another one. Look at, they're just giving this shit away. Right back against the original POC. Nobody is at all interested in these names. There's 464 sats. All it takes is a move to 900 sats. That's right here. And you can get yourself a free position. Sell half on a double, blah, blah, blah. Is that realistic going forward? I think so. Just a move here. If we do anything up here, it's you guys are going to start talking about Lambos and all that crap again. And for whatever it's worth, like I said, Jeremy, he knocked the cover off the ball. He had Phil sell orders the whole damn way up this candle. All right. We've been chatting now for about an hour and a half. Did you guys enjoy the presentation today? We got a really special treat. We got Julian. That was really nice of him. So maybe we can make it like a once a week sort of special roving reporter. Julian chimes in with his thoughts on the market. I thought that was beautiful. His little altcoin analysis. That is fucking brilliant, man. I'm going to subscribe to that newsletter if it comes out. I'll tell you that much, by crackers. Okay. I don't know. I think we had a pretty good session here today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. YouTubers, this is what we do Monday to Friday. We got different roving reporters popping in, sharing their 2 cents and their thoughts and their outlooks. Thomas isn't here today. You haven't met him. He's just a fucking incredible trader. And I'm lucky to be able to just hang around with him on a daily basis and just glean him. He's just awesome. We've got our regular site people, Grim. I don't think you YouTubers have met Grim yet. Just a beautiful role model, just a stand-up guy. So, this is what we do Monday to Friday. So I hope you guys enjoyed this presentation. I think Julian gave you guys on YouTube an absolute treat today. I wasn't expecting that. You get to hear Brian's rants. Hope you enjoyed, got any value out of what I had to say. And, try and play from a position of strength. Buying when they're crying, selling when they're yelling. Probably heard that expression before. Do we want to do a site progress ETA update for them, Julian, or should we just leave that?
It's going to be a while.
Oh, shit. Yeah. Okay, well, there you go. We're working. Don't get me wrong, and I gotta hand it to Julian. Incredibly dedicated person. He's gonna see this new site through, whether come hell or high water.
Brian's being dragged, kicking and screaming. There's a lot of screaming.
Well, it's all good as long as we're making a positive difference in this world, and I think we are. I think our audience is greatly appreciative. We probably saved our audience a whole shitload of money over the past, probably preventing them from chasing the market up and then preventing them from panic dumping and even preventing people from loading up too early. So as long as we just keep doing what we're doing, and the school is just rocking. And I can't believe how many students we have in this school program. People are just... referrals. Like we have people that are bringing their family in to take the course. It's almost like become just like core competency. If you want to actually even consider doing this, you got to take the level 1. So I'm just so super proud of the hard work that the whole team has put in. We actually have to head off to a TRI team meeting here shortly. So we'll see everybody on the site in the lounge later on today. I'll be off with Liam this afternoon. So, have a good day. If you want a nice, safe, secure place to come and learn and grow, this place that Jojo helped me get going a few years ago is doing exactly what she wanted, and it's what you people need in the public. Just a nice, safe place where you're not going to get taken advantage of, and you actually learn how to do this. And look at Julian. I mean, he's a fucking professional now. It's beautiful. Okay, guys, have yourselves a great day. All the best. PMA for the win. And bye for now.